Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast. Continuing to pick apart as we do of Raw and SmackDown. We are on T minus 6 days away from Saturday night's main event, and it looks about as eventful as midget wrestling. Actually, midget wrestling might be more entertaining than
Well, midget
Saturday night's
wrestling's
main event
awesome.
card. Yeah, the card for Saturday night main event is looking very bleak. They have three on the card right now. They usually have, I believe, four, and none of these matches shout main event to me. Um, but I digress. Now, I didn't know this statistic until someone else points things out. We haven't had a actual match end the show on Raw, I believe, since February. We just continue to have these segments at the end of the night, and you're just people are there to watch wrestling, not to watch little bullshit segments. Not that they're not entertaining from our perspective because we're sitting at home, but I feel like for people that pay the money to go to these events, they want to see a good match at the end of the night, not just a talking point. But it is what it is, I guess. But they're definitely starting to create cracks in the WWE universe, and I really think people are starting to really get wise to it. The wrestlers are asked to take pay cuts while the ownership takes pay increases, and I don't understand that. One, you don't need that much damn money for one. Into like the talent is what pays your checks. But you release people, you ask them to take pay cuts, all this stuff, and yet you're getting raises. Make that make sense.
Can't make it make sense.
So I just it blows my mind. Actually, it really doesn't blow my mind. I'm not surprised. And the product has been subpar. I mean, it's like I said, we're not getting matches to end the show. I mean, it's a pretty similar thing on SmackDown, to be honest. I mean, ending with the Gingerbread Man funeral is absolute dog shit.
That was stupid.
And so they're not putting together quality product. And it's showing, where we're starting to get, this whole repetitive matches again. Well, they fight one wrestler and then they fight the other person the next week or vice versa. I mean, and it's very bleak. It's very boring. And, now that I have softball on Mondays, I have to stream it after the fact. And I'm glad I can fast forward. It takes me about 35 minutes to watch a 2.5 hour show because it's just not that entertaining anymore. And I'm not missing anything. They're still throwing a million commercials per break per hour. I mean, you're getting 4 to 5 3-minute commercial segments. I don't know what the issue is here. Like you're talking about how TKO is broke, yet somehow people are getting raises. And then the people that actually put the asses in the seats that actually pay your salaries, I don't get it. TKO is broke. This was the stupidest thing WWE ever fucking did, was pair up with a company that's literally in the shitter.
That is true. I was trying to send a video in our group chat, but it's too damn long. Somebody asked, sat down. It was before WrestleMania. They sat down with the CEO, one of the CEO members, the top dogs of the TKO, and asked him if they have the full control over the writing, the storylines, and all that stuff, or if Triple H still has ties in any of that. He goes, no, Triple H has nothing to do with it. We have full control over everything, bad or good. He goes, yes, I hear the negative things about how the fans feel. To be personally honest, we don't care what they think. We're gonna run it the way we want it to run it,
Or however AI
And-
runs it.
Mm-hmm.
and some other stuff. I have to like try to see if I can break down. I might have to cut out the guy asking the question and send it because it's like a 5-minute video or something like that
Yeah.
I've seen on TikTok.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to the TikTok
to the group
message
chat.
thing on there.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely it's not making AEW seem so crazy now, is it?
I've been watching AEW lately.
I mean, I'm honestly debating. I mean, I hate to switch up things because but I feel like I'm just about to start running roughshod through Raw and SmackDown and freaking talking about AEW.
I'm excited for MJF and Darby Allin's
Darby
match.
Allin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for their championship match. If
Yeah.
MJF loses, he loses his hair.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I don't see him losing anyways.
it goes to show that, even when we had it bad with WWE, like pandemic era, shortly thereafter, this is what happens when you corporatize, such a product. And not only does it make people frustrated with the product, the changes,
You
It-
know, and
it drives them, in some instances, it drives them away from being, lifelong supporters to saying, well, what else does pro wrestling have to offer? And I think that's where a lot of people are shifting from. They're shifting. It's like this: pro wrestling is bigger than WWE, and there's more opportunities for entertainment and to see what everyone else is talking about. But sometimes the grass isn't greener. Um, when you do switch products, yeah. So the only time will tell if WWE can right the ship, uh, get back its shine, and maybe it's a transitional thing where they're making all these changes so they can introduce younger talent to rebuild the brand. I mean, we've seen
yeah,
it.
I'm not against
We've seen
them
it
bringing
before.
new talent. It's just that
Yeah.
it's even with the new talent, like this
Mhm.
whole John Cena Classic, which they didn't even talk about last week at all. And I guess it's going to be some kind of PLE basically. And, but it's like you just brought up a shit ton of NXT stars. So how is that even going to work? It doesn't make any sense. We have enough going on, let
Mhm.
alone adding more shit to the plate. And it's the storylines as is are lost. I mean, people aren't really defending their titles. They're not very prestigious anymore. Look at the vision with Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I mean, it's such a lull. It's so nothing. It's a weird flex by Logan Paul thinking that he's anything more than a mouthpiece at this point. I mean, and the vision died for me when they booted out Seth because it had nothing left. And obviously then the injuries happened, so it made it even worse. And so
Mhm.
now we're subjected to dealing with Austin Theory and Logan Paul. And it doesn't have the same luster. And obviously we have Braun Breaker back, which is fine. But it's like he's doing a separate thing. There's him and Seth are still doing, whatever they're doing. And so it's like the Vision isn't a powerhouse at all.
No.
It's like the only powerhouse faction in WWE right now is the Judgment Day. Like I
And
wouldn't
that's
even,
saying a lot.
and I would not even classify Fatal Influence, obviously they're still new to the scene, so I think they're making a mark, at least in the women's division, but the men, it's very, very, very boring. And so we'll get to Raw here, but like, so obviously the show kicks off, obviously with the Vision coming out, obviously followed by the Street Profits, obviously leading us into a match at Saturday Night's Main Event, which is fine. But they literally said that the Street Profits have not been on TV for 3 years. It said something like that. Or not if it was 3 years or like a long time.
I was gonna say, yeah, I
And
think so.
I mean, our life, I don't know, but like, how do you release people that are on the active roster and wrestling and performing, but you keep the back end? And so I would prefer the Street Profits to win at Saturday Night's Main Event, just because I wanted it to go back to the way the tag team was. Not these people holding shit hostage. We've already lived through that era for, the Bloodline for 3 years. We and then when they finally divided them, I thought I was gonna go back to quality tag team wrestling, and it really hasn't. And it's been, roughly maybe 2 years since the Bloodline era.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then they're releasing men's tag teams. Like, I think, the New Day obviously was a contract disagreement, but it's like Motor City Machine Guns, a very established tag team. No, let's just keep these random guys that are put together.
Right.
Like, not established tag teams, because true tag team wrestling is fluid. It is like flawless. It is like strategic, and it's very more entertaining than two random dudes thrown together. But yeah, so I definitely I hope the freaking Street Profits win and we can move on. But they obviously won on Monday, obviously with Joe Hendry as well. But obviously Braun Breaker got the last word, obviously, with a bunch of spears, as he does. But I want some changes. We've been asking for changes. We've been asking for a refresher. And like I said about the releases and stuff, is that like, you have people that just because they're Bloodline, they basically get to stay there.
Yep.
Tamina hasn't wrestled in probably 5 years, and somehow she still has a contract. Yeah, we have monsters like Braun Strowman that get released, and then poof also, and then you're getting rid of some of the MFTs. You're getting rid of a crap ton from NXT, which is fine. I don't mind them flushing out NXT, but I mean, I don't get it. What's their plan? Because they brought in NXT, and that's fine, but they've dismantled a lot of the tag teams. They dismantled the Kabuki Warriors, which I think it was a foregone conclusion that was going to happen. Obviously, Kairi wanted to go back to Japan, and then obviously we get the quick storyline of essentially Asuka, by the looks of it, on retirement, which is fine. She's had a Hall of Fame career, and no one can hold that up. Like,
easily.
And I don't know why they released the Wyatt Six. I mean, that still baffles me. Yeah, it's there's so much going on, and there's so many moving parts, and I feel like they're losing the flow of the show because of all these new faces, all these new things, and and again, if people don't watch NXT, they have no idea who these guys are, and I don't think a lot of people honestly watch NXT.
I watch it here and there.
And so like, I'm on it weekly, so like, I've been watching these guys for years, so I'm like, yeah, I know what this guy can do. But everybody else, I mean, think about it back in the day when we didn't have developmental, right? They would just have some random local talent go in and wrestle, or maybe they would sign someone, but like not someone everybody knows, and then the music hits, and you're like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what this music is. In the entrance music, oh my gosh, get on that. entrance music used to be like targeted towards that person and something about that person. Now we're getting this absolutely basic ass music. Like I said, there's so much things that's on the fritz in WWE, and yeah. But I digress.
It just makes it really frustrating to watch the product. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Now we've seen like this whole Rusev and Ethan Page and Penta and Javon Evans and just this whole slew of things. And we had so then again these four are basically going round robin basically. Now I am definitely looking forward to the rise of Javon Evans though. I will say that much. He's earned his place in a very quick manner because you can see the work ethic and you can see how he operates.
Mhm.
That the moniker of young OG is factual. But obviously he faced off against Rusev, obviously does get the win. And then obviously we get the backstage segment between Io Sky and Asuka, which was very heartfelt, was very genuine. And basically kind of, the storyline's over, right? This whole debacle's over. This was a genuinely heartfelt moment. And I feel like this is Asuka passing the baton to Io Sky, and I nothing but respect. So now we've been subjected to the lackluster tag team of one Paige and Brie Bella, and I don't want to use the term awful,
Okay.
but I'll break out the thesaurus
Mm-hmm.
and go with our famous wording of mid.
Mid.
And you see it too. Like I mean, we have a lot of, the women's tag team is on fire. Pretty much for the last probably 6 months to a year, honestly. But obviously Judgment Day wants tag team gold back, so we end up getting the Judgment Day basically laying waste to I hate to say Bella Twins. I have to break it down into one Bella. And so I don't know exactly what they're doing with this whole mess, but it's probably going to be more tag team nonsense. But it's like the women's tag team division is tri-branded, so it's like, those tag team titles kind of go wherever they want. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll play the wait and see game because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Now a cool match to see. We had Io Sky versus Sol Ruka, which was honestly a phenomenal match. And like we've said before, is that sometimes even when you take an L, it doesn't mean you took an L, right? And we've got to see the showcase of Sol Ruka obviously coming up from NXT and kind of basically just getting thrust right into good storylines, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Io Sky obviously winning this match, but again, all's well that ends okay. Now the next stuff we had the Obafemi Open Challenge, and this shit is funny. I think there's not much Obafemi can do wrong at this point because however he gets his opponents is however he gets his opponents, and literally walks to the back into Gorilla and just like, yep, you, all right, let's go. And
that's
just annihilates Los Garza, and I think they got released after that.
I don't think they released because it would have made headlines. I think it honestly I thought it was really funny, and I think that tongue-in-cheek post that Angel made was reminiscent of what Carlito did when he got speared by Braun Breaker. Um, yeah, I don't think they got. I don't think they got released. Let's find out. But please continue.
Yeah, I thought I heard some chirpings of it, but you know what? If that's how you're gonna go and you want to get annihilated by Obafemi, tip my hat to you, sir. But
He got destroyed.
yeah, no, that was
Got
it.
destroyed and carried out.
Yeah.
He
Like
helped him out to the back door.
Man, I mean, Obafemi's the next big thing.
Oh, hell
period.
yeah.
And I found out about like a lot of some of the African born or Nigerian born or whatever wrestlers, and no one's been able to wear the beads that he wears, and apparently that's kind of basically the equivalent of the Samoan Ulafala, just in Nigerian culture, I guess.
Yeah, it has
So-
to earn it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a king type of thing or whatever, kind of
You
something like the
you have to
Ulafala.
earn it from your culture to kind of get that.
Yeah. Now we finally got an actual Dominic defending his AAA championship for once against the original El Grande Americano. Obviously, that whole mess was thwarted by, I guess, El Grande Americano. It's weird to say.
Original.
Yeah, you have original and you have the better one. Like it is really honestly sad how terrible it really is, because like Ludwig speaks fluent Spanish. Chad speaks like Spanglish. And it just doesn't sound right coming out of his mouth because we know it's Chad Gable. Like
right. Yeah.
yeah. But so obviously with the outside interference, obviously we get Dominic retaining. But I'm still honestly on pins and needles for this mask versus mask match at AAA between the OG El Grande Americano and the new Americano.
I'm ready for it.
I'm
watching it.
I'm honestly like, I haven't been excited for a match that's not on WWE in a long time, and I feel like this takes the cake. And I think it was what, like the 30th, I think it was.
Yes, the 30th.
Yeah, the 30th. Yeah.
And then the 31st is there's a pay-per-view out there. I'll have to look.
So this is again what I was talking about in regards to the show ending on a non-wrestling segment, and basically had the Roman Reigns acknowledgement ceremony. Obviously, Jacob ain't having it, but
Italy is May 31st. That's
Yeah.
a Sunday.
yeah. So I guess
Starts at 1:30 p.m.
okay. So we'll be able to watch it, and then
It says starts at 1:30 p.m. ET or 7:30 p.m. local time.
yeah, local is them, and then we're here at 1. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you guys can just come over. We can watch it. Get some wings.
I'm down.
I mean, if it's at 1, it's gonna be done by 4. So
Pretty much. Or they're
You
going to be
know.
like WrestleMania, a couple matches before the show.
It's because the whole ESPN thing. So I think they might. But then they put the good matches in the beginning because they want to attract new fans, and the rest of the show for the actual fans is a dud. So SmackDown, honestly, I absolutely love this. I think it's honestly insane how over Trick Williams is. And
Yeah, those fans go crazy.
I mean, he was in his hometown.
He was also at home.
But I mean, like, you get that regardless. And what's so weird to me, honestly, though, is that like Trick when he was in NXT, he was very heelish, right? And even when he got kind of the main roster, he has that bravado that seems a little bit heelish. But like, he's kind of a face. I mean, he's toting the line. I compare this out of respect, but honestly, like Randy Orton level aura, where he can kind of have an aura of bad, but still be good. And I think that speaks volumes, because it's like, he's out there with Lil Yachty, and you kind of feel this like different energy. But then it's like with the things he does and the way he reacts and the way he does things, it's a super face move. And I hope he hears that, and I'm giving my respect. But so obviously he's having his whole moment, obviously, with his local crowd and everything, which honestly was insane. And then obviously crashed by The Miz, who hasn't won a match in 3-4 years probably, but he's The Miz and he's awesome. So I wish they would like, they've totally jacked him when it comes to new merch. Like, he always wears these new shirts, but you never see him on the store. But so obviously we end up getting a match between Trick Williams and The Miz. Like I said, obviously Trick gets the dub, and man, you gotta give respect where respect is due. Like, Trick's on fire. His matches are literally what I would say probably 4.9 stars. I don't want to say perfect, but I would honestly, and like, it's phenomenal. I mean, he's super athletic. He has that Booker T-esque style, and I'm really enjoying, honestly, more of the new talent than the old talent, because they feel like they're honestly just kind of playing it safe with the, I don't hate to say veterans, but I mean, just the more aged wrestlers.
The last match the Miz won was actually this year on May 15th against Johnny Gargano. I can't say his name.
Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, I can't say his last name correctly. Yeah, he won against him.
Well, I guess then the timer starts over.
Pretty much.
Now, speaking of playing it safe, we get Brie Bella and Paige versus Julia and Kiana James. Brie Bella's awful. She is absolute dog shit in the ring. And I hope she hears this. Maybe I'll post this and I'll tag her ass. Because leave, bitch, leave.
Oh.
You're awful. Paige, you get Paige out there, and she's still the wily veteran because she's been continuing to wrestle, right? And she went from WWE and then AEW for a bit and came back, and she still looks polished, and she's still one of the younger one on the roster, and it shows. Like, I'm not editing this rant, by the way. Brought to you by Me Rant. But yeah, she's so stiff in the ring. These moves do not look fluid. They do not look, very well done. You can see how light and how very, very soft she's doing these different moves, and she just looks really uncomfortable, and it just looks very crummy. And I can only imagine what it feels like in the stadium when they're watching these, because they're just way too just lackluster, and maybe I'm just being a dick because I don't care, but I just think, take the belts off them and move on. Like, we all want Paige to go solo because Paige is fire. Brie Bella is just her anchor right now, because we know what Paige is capable of. We know the caliber that she is, and Brie Bella is holding her back right now. Like, what do you guys honestly think? I mean, I've been very vulgar and mean and angry and whatever else, but like, am I wrong though?
Yeah. I think that Brie might be working through an injury. Um, it may be something along the lines of she's just she's might struggling to find her groove. Um, doesn't have the time to put in the extra effort because she is a mom. You know, and businesswoman, et cetera, et cetera. But to that, if you're not going to put in the time or have the available time to work on your performances, then perhaps, like you said, it should, you should step back a little bit and be more of a nostalgia act, come out, help new people get over and that sort of thing. What I would like to say is that it's a work that she's performing really crappily as a work. Um,
Yeah, and like
but,
it's not a personal attack on her. It's just that like you said, if you're not going
sure,
to put in the work.
it sure sounded like it. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to like maybe walk that back just a
Well,
tad, but
but I
yeah,
and I don't and again, if this is just how they're booking her and how they're having her do things, then whatever, right? I mean,
right.
it's but it just she just doesn't look comfortable in there. And maybe it's just because she's used to being with Nikki and having that camaraderie. Obviously, that not that she doesn't have camaraderie with Paige, and so maybe you know it's a thrown together tag team per se, obviously because of the Nikki Bella supposable injury, and it was a pivot, and because like when it's the Bella twins, like it just looks different.
I don't know. I think Bree's all right. I like
Mhm.
Bree. I think I like Bree more over Nikki Bella.
Yeah,
Uh,
of the
she
two,
she's
yeah,
I think Bree hasn't had a lot of matches as her sister has. Her sister had a lot more matches than Bree.
Agreed.
Bree was more like Nikki's manager almost felt like.
Yeah.
But I like Bree. I think Bree just needs to. I think they need to lose the tag titles, and I think Paige just needs to be on her own, do her own thing because she's a powerhouse. She's good at what she does.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could just be that. I mean, because yeah, I mean, Nikki Bella obviously was in a lot more matches individually. Bree's always kind of been a background character,
I'm gonna look
and
that
and
up.
and maybe that's just kind of how they're doing it, and they're just kind of trying to figure out what's next. Just because it does feel like WWE is like working on their toes a little bit, and they're not really thrusting really new storylines. It's kind of obviously like when Jade had the title, they weren't doing a whole lot with her. And maybe this is just kind of something that's paralleling that, and they just don't have anything, and they don't know what they want to do next. Um, but again, I mean, before they were champions, like the women's division, like tag team wise, was absolute fire. I mean, they were putting together all these crazy like 4-way tag matches and all this stuff, and so like I just it kind of hit a lull when when Brie Bella and Paige won it. Um, but I mean, I guess it kind of is what it is. And if they're working towards something bigger, like then I'm all for it. Um, and honestly, maybe they lose them in like a fatal 4-way. They don't have to take an L per se. And so it kind of protects that. Is what they've done with a lot of wrestlers, where it's like they don't beat that wrestler, but obviously they just have to pin someone in the match.
hmm
And maybe that's what they're going to do. Obviously, we're not too far from Clash in Paris. Um, I don't think they're going to do a whole lot with anything at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Okay. I looked up. There's different things it's showing. Brie Bella had a total of matches. This is 582 total of wins out of those was 309 for Brie. Nikki Bella had a total of 615 matches. Total of wins is 362.
So I mean, not.
And
I mean,
248 losses for Nikki, and for Brie was 267 losses.
so I mean, honestly, really not much difference in numbers, I guess. But I think
No.
a lot of those were probably the difference is probably Nikki's single matches versus the
Brie,
majority of
yeah.
Brie's matches have been more tag team. But anywho, so we've been finally seeing Royce Keys be more utilized.
I'm happy about.
And I'm excited for that because I mean, there's a lot, that this guy can do, and so he just needs the door to be open so he can
He's
do
a
it.
powerhouse.
Yeah, and so we had the contract signing that was supposed to be between Gunther and Cody Rhodes, and in typical fashion, obviously, Gunther obviously was kind of lollygagging about it, and being very Paul Heyman-esque about it. And I love that Royce Keys just comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sign this."
He's like, "You're not going to sign it. I will."
Like, how you like me now? By the way, Gunther.
Gunther was so pissed.
Yeah, but I like that they obviously had the match later, to determine the number one contender, which I thought at least give the guy some some live matches underneath his belt, and get him acclimated and kind of start building some good storylines for him because he's worth it, right? I
Right,
think that
right.
we don't have a whole lot of real powerhouses, obviously, with the exception of really Obafemi. These guys that are just kind of built different. So
Yeah, SmackDown doesn't really have much big powerhouses.
I
yeah,
would
I
like to
mean,
say that what we're getting with Royce Keys is real time developmental week out of week from week. Even though he was in AEW and spent a lot of time on, spent some time on the indie scenes, then he was on AEW, so he's familiar on TV. But what we're getting with him is, is just real time, like how they build the next superstar. Instead of you watching, you know, NXT, you're watching this development happen on
yeah,
SmackDown,
yeah, and
in high profile matches,
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's definitely deserving of, the, like the kind of the rub that a handful of superstars get. That kind of they skip the NXT stuff, and he's worthy of being in the main event. He has a presence that just screams main event. And so I hope they utilize that and they really go in that direction, because I think a lot of us, and I probably speak for a lot of WWE fans, like we're just over Cody. And it's we're in this era of corporate Cody and QB1 stuff and all this stuff, and it's just like I want to move on. There's a lot of roster to be possible champions. Obviously we have a crap ton of NXT call-ups, which has happened in the last 6 months, and a lot of them recently. So I think there's at least opportunities to have good matchups. And again, whether they win or lose, but I think we need to start putting some more high profile matches together. Obviously we did have a couple weeks ago, obviously when Ricky Saints debuted, having a match against Cody. I thought that was good. And so we just really need to get, these NXT stars in compelling storylines so people don't just kind of push them aside, because WWE is very infamous for wasting talent.
Yeah.
And so I think that they have an opportunity to really utilize a lot of the new call-ups. But so we had a Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Saints match, And it was nice to see Carmelo Hayes back because I feel like he's kind of kind of went off into the ether for a bit. Nice to see him back. Obviously, again, puts phenomenal matches on. Again, nothing against Ricky Saints. I thought it was a good straight up match. Not a whole lot going on, just good old wrestling. Now, speaking of repetitiveness, so we get Damian Priest, who faced off against Talatonga last week, and now faces off against Tamatonga. And I don't know what they're doing with like these single matches for tag teams. Like, is it just the rosters they've gotten rid of so many that they just don't have star power to actually push the tag team division? Because it's always weird when when you have established tag teams, they're always in tag teams matches because that's their forte, that's their skill set. But then it's like now we're getting these thrown together teams, and not that Damian Priest and R-Truth are strangers by any stretch. But it's like it frees up the ability to have them go do singles matches because they're singles wrestlers. But like this whole quarrel with the MFTs or what's left of them, it just seems to be kind of a nowhere storyline. I mean, obviously the MFTs want to go after the tag team division. I mean, the tag team belts, which I gather that's what we're working towards. But it does seem like kind of a withered kind of storyline. It doesn't really seem very strong, very, top tier as it should be. But again, with all the titles, obviously things kind of do wither a little bit. And it's hard to keep every belt's division active and moving and having compelling storylines, just because there's a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with belts that are compelling storylines and that are hot topics. And it's kind of pretty much how it's always been.
Right.
And so, speaking of tag team wrestling, so we get Jade coming out, obviously doing whatever she was addressing with B-Fab and Michin. And obviously we get Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss out there and end up getting a match with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Michin and B-Fab. Obviously happens disqualification, and again, not really surprised on that. I was really surprised that Rhea didn't come out, just because of the pending, 6-woman tag match at Saturday night's main event this coming Saturday. Maybe they're gonna have something like that happen this Friday, maybe, just to kind of build up the match a little bit. But I guess, I don't know. I really have no idea what match they're going to add to Saturday night's main event. Obviously, given there's only 3 matches right now, and I believe they usually do 4 for main event because it's a 2-hour show.
It's usually 4.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't even contemplate what match they might toss in that. Now, a possibility is we get Royce Keys versus Solo Sikoa. Given that whole debacle at the end of the match between Gunther and Royce Keys, obviously Solo being out there trying to recruit, as it were, and Royce Keys ain't having it. So maybe that's a possibility to get added to the card. Again, I would be nice to see Royce Keys at least get some PLE shine.
Yeah.
So, I think the more we see him, the better things are going to get.
Oh yeah.
So, and you don't want to miss out on the fresh talent.
Agree.
And not that Royce Keys is fresh by any stretch. I mean, he's, you know,
He's pretty much fresh to the WWE
yeah,
universe.
yeah. So, but yeah, and so that's kind of how the night ended. Obviously, with Saturday night's main event, the current card is Penta versus Ethan Page for the Intercontinental. We have the Vision, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory versus the Street Profits, Montez and Angela Dawkins. And then we have the 6-woman tag match, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Alexa Bliss versus Michin, Jade Cargill, and B-Fab. And like I said when we talked about beforehand, is that I don't see any three of these matches being main event.
No.
And it's yeah, I mean, and it's like every time you hear all these like, I feel like these people are getting paid by WWE to like overhype everything, because it's just like there's a couple of people on there like, oh yeah, it's must see, and then we see it and we're like, no,
Was it? Yeah.
like
That was a flop.
like in the words of Tim, must take a bathroom break.
Mm.
So like, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they really need to do away with the Saturday night's main event. It's an underhyped. It's just basically an extra Raw or SmackDown. Like, why can't you do these matches in main event of a Raw or SmackDown? Because Saturday night's main event is just like a tweener event that they want to put together just so the refs can wear different uniforms. And yeah, that's about it.
You know, I think Saturday night's main event could be a lot better if it was matches that we normally wouldn't get. It's like pay-per-view matches or PLE matches, but like really unexpected. There's no story. It's just like, here's the matchup. Here's what we're gonna do for you. It's like, I don't know. For example, like Royce Keys versus Obafemi. You know what I'm saying? And it's like at Madison Square Garden, and the story writes itself. You don't need a build up. You don't need to have conflict. You just put people together in unsurprising ways. Like, I think the John Cena Classic could be really great for a Saturday night main event. Like, if it was like semifinals and people were live voting and they really built it up as this special thing. Like, here's all the prelims, like a prelim night for the John Cena Classic. You know what I'm saying? Um, but a lot of the matches that they have, it's just an extra, like you said, Raw, SmackDown. Um, and if you're gonna do that, you could take those extra hours that you're giving to NBC, Universal, Comcast, whatever it's calling itself these days, and just give it to USA and Netflix, and there's your extra hours. You know,
Yeah, and what's kind of
Say Saturday night will be probably, I think that's streaming on Peacock.
yeah, it's on Peacock. Yeah, and then YouTube globally. And so apparently, so I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but so SmackDown, they're thinking of bringing it to a different night. And I think it's because they want to keep the 3-hour window, the 3-hour time frame. Because on USA, Braun Strowman gets to stick it to WWE because he has a slot for his show that is supposed to play after at a certain time frame on USA. And I think it's a great proverbial middle finger to WWE that he's controlling that they might have to go to a different night or whatever because his show is on USA at a certain time.
I'd say SmackDown used to, when it first started, SmackDown was usually on Thursdays.
Yeah, it was on UPN.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, because it was on
DW.
Thursday, and then didn't they do it on? I think
They did
bounced
it on
around.
CW a couple times.
Yeah,
And say Raw was started out on US, then it went from US to TNN, then from TNN back to the US, and then to something else.
USA, WWE Network, Sci-Fi, Sling TV.
Yeah, it was on Sci-Fi. I remember that.
Oh man, the sci-fi days. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all in all, like, I mean, like, what is your guys' take on the current product? I mean, obviously, I was very disgruntled with my review of it, but like, I mean, how do you think like the storylines are going? Like, what's your take on just the utilization of talent, the lack of championship matches? I mean, just
I would say Raw. I didn't fully watch SmackDown. I was way too dang tired. Um, Raw I did watch. I think some of the matches were good. The product is all right. Some of the storylines can be a little bit better. I think they need more title defensive titles being on the line on the show, being shown more. Same thing with SmackDown. SmackDown is just kind of dull. It's not as it's not motivate me to freaking want to watch it. Maybe if Randy Orton or somebody big was on there, make an appearance,
yeah,
or then I would want to watch it. But
yeah. I mean, but
I, I'm,
where is
I
Randy Orton?
to be honest with you, I've been more my whole life being a WWF WWE fan. I think Raw has always been my favorite out of the two because Raw always had the best matches, always the best stories, best product that was going for it. SmackDown was always like the B team, still the B team. It's still the same, but not as much as when it was the Attitude Era. Attitude Era SmackDown was pretty good, where the superstars can go to both shows. There wasn't this brand split BS.
Yeah,
That time was a lot better than it is now. Don't get me wrong, Cody Rhodes is the top star of SmackDown right now, but I love Cody Rhodes to death. I think he's a good superstar, but I'm tired of seeing him. I'd rather watch fucking Trick Williams the most on SmackDown.
Mhm.
yeah. And it's crazy too, is because sometimes, like you're starting to see Cody Rhodes in the middle of the show,
Middle, first, and last,
You know-
all three parts.
and it's just we're so overloaded with the same thing over and over again. It's he's really going full blown John Cena, and it's like it's what Roman said that I won't repeat, but
Mhm.
because I've said enough, but 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 it's just the same thing over and over again, and it's and then obviously now we haven't seen CM Punk in a while. We haven't seen him since he lost at WrestleMania.
What I've read, he's taken some time off, some time away. And I know Netflix was in talks with him and Liv Morgan to do, I think it was a TV show or a movie for Netflix. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I heard that same
And
thing.
As long as
I
Liv
think
Morgan's music isn't the theme song.
hey man, I like her. I like her music.
It's so
Uh,
terrible.
That's debatable if you really like it.
Liv Morgan.
Oh,
I would
fucking love her.
rather listen to Lil Nas X Old Time Road than listen to her song.
Yeah.
I got her song on one of my playlists on
Oh my
Spotify.
Gosh, he's sitting at work.
No, I would love to listen to music while I'm working about it, but I can't.
Oh,
That's a bad decision. But it's
yeah. But I have to agree with Tim. I think the Raw product, because it's been on TV so much more, so longer than the SmackDown product. Um, to me, the SmackDown product is always going to be second fiddle. I do think WWE creative as a whole needs a lot of work. Um, I also think that we're going to see like a shift in how this new generation of performers are built and created as superstars. It's going to come to a point where we're going to see them develop on the weekly show and not in the performance center, um, not there. So there needs to be a definite intention of how the performers are being utilized. And if that's not going to happen, we're going to keep having these conversations about the product just sucking in general because there's no. I really want to see more wrestling than I want to see storylines.
Yeah.
I just, and that's why I enjoy like alternatives. There's an emphasis on the wrestling, yeah, it just seems like the creative is misfiring across the board. And we've had this era before with, the old regime with Vince McMahon, where towards before him selling the company during and after the pandemic era, it just seemed awful. It just seemed that they just couldn't get a good story to save their lives. They just could not do it. And that's frustrating to
Mm-hmm.
watch, to watch. So I would really like it if WWE could do something that we haven't seen before when it comes to getting a superstar over. I think the organic stuff, like especially with Trick Williams, Obafemi, slowly but surely with Royce Keys, Jacob Fatu with the mystique around him, they're finally letting him breathe and letting him do his thing. That's really fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Let Tamatonga do Tamatonga things. He's the bad guy for a reason. Let him do Tamatonga things. That's what we want to see. Um, I just there's got to be something happening. I mean, the whole thing about Danhausen is fun, and it's a great change of pace. Just like seeing our truth when he comes on screen. Yeah, this is gonna be great. But it's like everything else. It just seems to be just AI slop. It is
Yeah. I mean,
100% AI slop, and I just there's no care for it.
yeah. I mean, and you'd think it with them trying to like literally practically use Chat GBT for the matches and everything, and it really shows because there's you can tell in the 90s and 2000s the authenticity of the matchups and the storylines and everything else, and they were always so good because there wasn't as many lulls in the storyline, right?
Mhm.
And I would rather have a handful of good storylines and have some good builds to stuff and have some good back and forths than just have more of nothing, right?
Right.
And so like I just want to see more compelling storylines, better builds, You know, and again, like I love this Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu stuff right now.
Well, same here.
You know, and because it's like inner bloodline, dude. It's like inner, like in the same, like it's like a family feud, you know. And yes, like obviously this, you know, the fact that Jacob honestly kind of is reverting to a, you know, a Samoan Drew McIntyre and complaining and being a whiny, but like it's different with how he's doing it because there's tension that's family related, right?
Yeah.
You know, versus Drew just complaining about everything, you know, and losing everything else. Jacob's like, I don't care. Yeah, I lost, but guess what? I'm gonna make your life hell. And he gives zero fucks.
Yeah,
So like,
he goes out there and fucks everybody up. He doesn't
yeah,
give a
I
shit
mean,
who's
yeah,
in his
and so
life.
like, you know, they've unleashed the werewolf, all right, and
They're Adam
I,
Pearce.
you know, I honestly think that, you know, if we run back Roman and Jacob's
I think
winning.
we will. I think we will.
And I don't know if it'll be Clash. I don't know if it'll be SummerSlam. But we're gonna run this back, and obviously they want Roman to ring the chamois for all it's worth. But I'm also very on board with Jacob Fatu winning, right? And maybe, just maybe, you know, down the pipeline, you know, we get some of those marquee matches, right? Maybe we get a Royce Keys versus Jacob Fatu because they're friends, but they also want gold. You know, there's stuff there. Or shoot, give me Jacob Fatu versus freaking Obafemi. Like, you know, because it doesn't seem like they really have much of a brand loyalty anymore, and it's kind of just shuffling around like a deck of cards. So, you know, if it's gonna be that, I would like you know, there's so many possibilities that we know, and that as the fans we're like in our heads thinking, okay, we would, you know, like this eventually. Obviously, we know you guys do long-term story booking, yada yada, but eventually I want to see this, you know. And you know, with, I mean, just the rise of a lot of these wrestlers. I mean, you know, Javon Evans really just putting together crazy matches. You know, you have Penta defending his title consistently. You have Obafemi doing what he's doing. You have Royce Keys on the rise. You know, you have this silent division, but you know, within the MFTs because Shinsuke's in Tama Tonga's ear, and you know, there's so many of these things that like they have to have a breaking point, right? And you know, I think with the fact that they've already dismantled the MFTs and they're down to 3 dudes, I mean, it doesn't have the same effect.
True.
And
Yeah.
you know, so you know, maybe eventually, because you know, eventually we get some kind of breakage in the MFTs because I mean, again, Tala Tonga could do a lot by himself. Tama Tonga
Yep.
could do a lot by himself.
Oh, that
You
is
know,
true.
solo can't function without being in a group.
Yeah, his character is like
It's very like mid. You know,
I'd
it's
say
just
he
like,
did a
cool,
lot better
you're
in NXT by himself.
well,
Yeah.
the thing, well, but like, and that's that thing is, and that's their own doing, is because they brought him up so quick, and it didn't give him time to build. You know, it's like Obafemi, if he got bum rushed at, you know, the not perfect time, it would have had a different effect, right? And so when he came up and when he, you know, he had that marquee match, like that was good timing. And a lot of it's timing too, because you don't want to have too much go on where you get like, you kind of get lost in different storylines.
Yeah.
You know, there has to be a progression, you know, like we've just said with, you know, Obafemi, like give this guy as many squash matches as you possibly can. You know what? Obafemi Open Challenge, dude, I don't care who shows up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't mean that person that takes the L from Obafemi is a bad wrestler or a bad performer or deserving of really an L, but like we need to build Obafemi because we have something here, right? You have something hot right now. You have something with Trick Williams. You need to really build on that. You know, so there's a lot going on that they can build on, but they also, again, they have a habit of all of a sudden storylines just drop. And it's not that the performers are bad. It's just it's the storylines and how they're doing things and how they're booking things. And it's like, yeah, maybe Triple H isn't involved in the whole thing, but it's like I feel like they're still sitting around a table, bouncing off ideas. Whether you got, Nick Khan, you got Shapiro, whoever. I guarantee they're all around a table talking about something. They're not just inputting something in ChatGPT and saying, "What do you think?" They're not sitting around a table saying, "Alexa, what do you think?" So there still has to be some format amongst all them talking, and it just needs to get better.
Yeah, I would agree. It definitely needs to get better because if it doesn't get better, we're gonna continue to have this problem, and people are going to move away from the product, or they're gonna find an alternative way to digest the product, like you have. They're gonna, just skim through it, or they're gonna start watching other promotions. You know,
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, and I don't think we're that far off from this happening. I don't think we're as far away as we think we are.
What the hell happened?
I think TKO just canceled Seth. they just said no more. No, you can't jump ship. Oh,
Cut me out,
God.
asshole.
We thought TKO got you, bro.
Yeah.
I must have said the magic word. All of a sudden, it kicked me.
Yeah,
But I know, like I like touched one thing, and all of a sudden, it like booted me out.
So,
You'll never censor me. But yeah, it's a wait and see game. I mean, we all hope it gets better, but we also have to understand the reality that it might not. And the ship that Vince McMahon ran for a long ass time, decades after decades after decades, we might be in the end times, man. They're releasing people. No one wants to sign new contracts because they don't want a pay cut, while the corporate juggernauts are getting 200% increases in pay. I think it's bullshit. Yeah. So, you can make as much money as you want at the top, but if no one wants to work for you, maybe we start seeing the rise of WWE leaving, and going to AEW or going to TNA or going to Ring of Honor, whatever. There's fan bases for them too, guys. It's not like WWE is the only ship in the yard. So, we'll wait and see. We will put a little pinner for the winner, and hopefully we'll be back next week and continuing to break down the chaos that it is. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.